My wedding day revelation that broke my heart. Before we begin the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss more incredible stories every day. The organist holds the cord as my phone lights up again. My stylist's wrist smells like hairspray and coffee as she steadies my head, but my eyes stay fixed on the screen. Unknown number. Then a text preview, wire before vows. Or the photos go public. I'm Aria, 27, nurse, the kind of person who packs extra bobby pins and protein bars for everyone else. Today I'm supposed to marry Julian in a hotel chapel with velvet pews and an aisle so glossy I'm afraid to breathe on it. I've soft-launched our story for months, curated captions, kept my world tidy because tidy is how you keep patients alive, families calm, disasters contained. My mother says marriages are made in the quiet rooms where two people can be brutally honest. Julian says everything looks better in natural light. The organist is practicing the recessional for some other couple, and the cord vibrates like a warning through the wall. The unknown number dings again, another demand, another thread tugging at the hem of my certainty. Tessa, my maid of honor, spots my face in the mirror, puts down the lipstick, and says carefully, "Who needs you now?" I swallow. Someone who thinks I'm for sale. She glances at the door, then back to me. Do you want me to read it? I nod because suddenly the room is tilting, because I can't afford to faint, because this is my life, not a rehearsal. She reads, goes pale, and whispers, "Aria, why are they invoicing you for Julian's silence?" I hear the knock again and pray it isn't another invoice demanding obedience. We met in a hospital cafeteria, both grabbing the last strawberry yogurt like a meet-cute cliché. He was magnetic, charming the scrub techs and surgeons, and I was the rookie nurse who still taped my pins to my badge so I wouldn't lose them. He remembered birthdays, sent soup when I had the flu, wrote notes on napkins, and tucked them into my lunch. "You make chaos feel solvable," he said the night we watched the city lights turn our windows into constellations. My brother Ben warmed to him slowly. Tessa never did. He edits himself, she warned. People who edit that much are hiding the outtakes. But love is a good editor too, and I cut away anything that didn't fit the picture. Then the wedding planning began, and Julian grew particular. No open bar, he decided. No kids on the dance floor. He wanted the lighting designer to glow me thinner, and asked if I could tone down the nurse stories in my vows. I chalked it up to stress, to budgets, to image. He's conflict averse, I told myself. He wants perfect because he's scared of messy. 2 weeks ago, he insisted our officiant sign an outline, promising to stick to a script. The outline looked like a contract. I laughed it off, handed it back, kissed his shoulder. But this morning's text doesn't look like jitters, and my heart understands the difference. A second knock lands like a gavel. Someone wants to speak with the bride about a document. A woman in a charcoal dress enters with the gravity of a courthouse clerk. "Ms. Rivera," she says, using my name the way a form does. "I'm Attorney Park. Mr. Latham requested I deliver a last-minute addendum." She holds a slim folder. The stylist freezes mid-curl. Tessa steps forward like a bouncer. "We are mid-eyeliner," she says. Ms. Park's voice is gentle. 3 minutes. My stomach tightens. "Who's Mr. Latham?" "Julian," she answers. His legal name for certain filings. The world rearranges by half a degree. Ms. Park lays out a single page and a blue pen. "A standard prenup amendment," she explains, clarifying reputation clauses and asset boundaries. It protects both parties from disparagement and from liabilities unrelated to the marriage. The language bites. Non-disparagement in perpetuity. Liquidated damages upon breach. Indemnification regarding historic obligations. Historic obligations? I ask. An umbrella phrase, she says, careful. Julian asked for haste. Tessa snaps a photo of the page. My phone dings again. 10,000 by 2:30 p.m. Or the pictures post before you say I do. Time blurs. Pictures of what? I whisper. Ms. Park presses her lips together, eyes kind. I don't have that context. Hairspray stings my eyes. Why would anyone bill me? Tessa mutters. Because you're about to have community property optics. The organist stops. A corridor hush follows. I realize silence is louder when truth is coming. Meredith, our planner, sweeps in with a clipboard and high-pitched calm. We're moving to first look photos in 5, she chirps, then registers the folder and recalibrates. Do we need the groom? Not yet, Ms. Park says. Ben slips in behind her, tall, protective, reading the room like a triage nurse. Problem, he asks. Tessa hands him my phone. He reads the threats twice, jaw flexing. Who has pictures, he asks. Of what? I shrug because the question tastes like tin. Ms. Park points to the signature line. We need the bride's initials here and here. Ben shakes his head. We need clarity, not initials. Meredith clears her throat. If we miss the first look window, the rooftop blows out with another wedding. Tessa. Then great, fewer cameras. I steady myself against the vanity. Julian would never, would he? He told me he paid off his credit cards last month. He told me the ring was in line with savings, that the venue discount was through a friend, that our honeymoon points came from a work program. My mother texts, "Where are you?" Julian texts, "You okay?" The unknown number texts a bank routing code with a note. Caption drafts ready. My skin goes cold. Caption drafts imply a rollout. No one blackmails for small change, Ben says low. This is planned. Ms. Park's gaze flickers. May I be candid? I nod. If you sign this, you cannot speak publicly about anything that might embarrass your spouse. I picture vows I cannot say if my mouth is contractually closed forever. Tessa yanks out my veil and pins it to the chair like a hostage flag. Ben pockets my phone. Stall, Mom, I say. He's already typing. I'll tell her the photographer needs golden hour tests. Meredith hovers, then softens. There's a small office off the chapel. No one goes there. MS. Park inclines her head. It's private. We move like a quiet code team. Down a service corridor that smells like lilies and lemon cleaner, past crates of votives, under exit signs that hum. My dress whispers against taped cables. Someone's laughter leaks from a ballroom like a life in which this is simple. The office is cool and dim. A desk, a printer, a crucifix on the wall tilting 5 degrees shy of level. Ms. Park lays the page flat and outlines the clauses. Non-disparagement. A debt firewall. Arbitration. Debt firewall. I ask. She lifts a brow. If your spouse incurred obligations before marriage, you agree not to be involved in their settlement or publicity. Tessa's voice slices. So if Julian owes someone and they come for Aria's silence, Aria can't warn anyone. Ms. Park exhales. That consequence exists. A photo buzzes into my screen from an unknown handle at Glossy Truths. A close-cropped shot of Julian's arm around a woman at a rooftop bar. Timestamped 2 weeks ago. Captioned, "Guess who's getting married today and still paying rent on the past?" My heart knocks so hard I feel the dress seam complain. Another image arrives, and this one includes a contract corner with Julian's unmistakable signature. The screenshot is crisp, a settlement letterhead, a partial signature, Julian R. Latham, and a subject line, confidential consideration for non-disclosure. The amount is 5 figures, payable in 2 installments, the first already cleared. The memo line reads, Media assets, June, August. Tessa hisses. He paid for silence and forgot the receipt trail. Ms. Park's face is composed, but her eyes flick to the crucifix like even she'd like moral cover. I cannot advise beyond mechanics, she says. Mechanics, the word lawyers use when a heart is breaking. I zoom in on the timestamp. Yesterday, 11:14 p.m. A payment failed. The next text to me arrived this morning. My brain sorts facts like vitals. Payment failed, leverage increases, pressure shifts to the bride. I hear Julian's laugh from the hall, familiar and bright. Meredith peeks in. They're setting the aisle. We have 8 minutes before someone notices. Ben grips the back of the chair, so hard it creaks. We need a data map, he mutters. I nod. Hotel desk. Vendor threads. Cloud backups. Tessa's already tapping. I'll check the planner portal. Vendors upload invoices there. I open Julian's shared calendar. We agreed transparency would be our wedding gift to each other, and find a private all-day event tag deliveries. Deliveries of what? Flowers? Or captions? A vendor DM pings Tessa. Are we still doing the 210 drop at the chapel door? Which vendor? I ask. Tessa squints. Handel says at Eyes Like Film. One of the videographers? Meredith shakes her head. My team doesn't use burner handles. Ben unlocks the office computer. Meredith, saint of logistics, somehow knows the password. The planner portal opens on a neat dashboard of invoices. Tessa searches Julian's email and finds a hidden filter. Skip inbox. Mark as read. It's filled with receipts from Latham and Rowe Media Handling, a company I've never heard of. Ms. Park leans forward. Rowe is Julian's middle name. The receipts list consultation hours, caption polishing, and audience mapping. One note jumps out. If bride's family is conservative, seed message around merciful discretion and growth. I taste bile. Another line. Contingency if funding lapses. Schedule time drops tied to ceremony milestones. I open iCloud and browse Julian's shared folder. A sub-album called Drafts sits behind a Face ID wall he forgot to remove from our shared phone. Inside, not sex, not scandal exactly, but intimacy with someone who isn't me, low-light videos, a hand on a thigh, a blurred face with a very specific tattoo I've seen on Instagram before. The woman's bracelet matches the rooftop photo. Ben writes down the timestamp. June 17th, 1:03 a.m. Yesterday's failed payment was June 23rd. It's not the past, Tessa says, voice flat. It's the present. Meredith's walkie crackles. Groom heading to chapel. Cue bride in 4 minutes. Why? I whisper. Why pay someone who already has the power? Ms. Park answers softly. Because paying creates a contract, and a violated contract is easier to attack than a rumor. Ben taps the printer on, slides in paper. We need hard copies, he says. We print the settlement screenshot, the vendor DMs, the invoices, the calendar entry, the video's timestamps without faces. I pause over the prenup addendum and remember Julian's sudden insistence that we hire his friend as our officiant because he gets our vibe. It wasn't vibe, it was control. Tessa calls the number that's been texting me. It goes to voicemail with a pitch-perfect influencer voice. Hey, you've reached Giselle with 2 L's, it purrs. I've seen that bracelet in ads for a wellness brand. I pull up the brand's page. There she is, Giselle, a micro-celebrity with a rooftop life and a caption about choosing dignity. My throat tightens. The captions aren't threats, they're inventory. What are you going to do? Meredith asks, softer than I've ever heard her. The organist starts the processional for someone else, another couple stepping into a story I no longer recognize as mine. Tessa's phone flashes. We're outside the chapel door with the deliveries. Instructions? I stand, veilless, and decide that love without truth is a brand deal, not a marriage. Here's the plan, I say, surprising myself with how steady I sound. Meredith, invite Julian to the little office. Tell him the officiant needs a quick signature. Ben, you come too. Ms. Park, stay and witness. Tessa, keep the deliveries at the door until I text. We move quickly. Meredith's walkie chirps. Julian agrees to swing by. I gather the printouts, slide them into a manila folder like discharge papers. My hands lock into hospital autopilot. Announce, explain, obtain consent. When Julian steps in, he looks cinema-ready, eyeliner of joy smudged to nothing by perfect lighting. Hey, he says, kissing the air because of my lipstick. Everything okay? Signatures, Meredith says, and backs out with the speed of a saint. The door clicks. I place the folder on the desk. We need to talk, I say. He smiles, practiced. After the vows, babe. This is not the moment. My stomach goes cool. Someone thinks it is. I slide out the settlement screenshot. He glances, blinks, and then tries a half shrug. Oh, that old PR thing. I slide the invoices. Current PR thing. He reaches for my hand. Aria, don't. I say, gently enough that it hurts. He lifts his eyes, the mask settling, and asks, what do you want from me right now? Truth, I say. Not spin. Not lighting notes. Truth. He exhales like a man surrendering a mountain. It wasn't cheating, he starts. It was complicated. Payments simplify things, Ben says from the corner, stepping forward. Julian flinches. He hadn't seen Ben behind the door. Jesus, Ben. Ben's voice is quiet steel. Don't take the Lord's name to defend invoices. Julian turns back to me. She tried to extort me before we met, he says. All this was cleanup. Tessa texts. Giselle's team wants confirmation. Stalling. MS. Park clears her throat. You used a legal alias for this cleanup. Julian glares. Not illegal. Not transparent, she replies. He shifts tactics. Voice softer, palms up. Babe, I love you. None of this touches you. That's why the addendum. So you're protected. The word protected curdles. From your choices? I ask. He looks at the crucifix like he expects it to wink. From noise, he says. From chaos. I think of my patients, the ones who coded at 3 a.m. and still managed to be braver than this. Tessa opens the door a crack. 2 minutes until someone marches you down that aisle, she warns. Julian smiles that photo-friendly smile and whispers, "Let's get married now and fix optics later." "No," I say, and the room changes temperature. "We're fixing truth now." I pull out the prenup addendum. Ms. Park steps closer. "If you sign this," she says neutrally, "you cannot publicly disclose material facts that may reflect negatively on Mr. Latham." Ben folds his arms. "He's asking you to eat his secrets and call it cake." Julian's face tightens. "It's to protect us." I slide over the vendor messages with the 2:10 drop at the chapel door. "Protect us from which scheduled post?" His jaw works. "She's crazy," he says. "That word is not a defense," I answer. "Dates, times, amounts are." I turn to Ms. Park. "Can we bring the officiant in?" She nods. Meredith materializes, blessing that she is, with our officiant, a friend of Julian's wearing designer cufflinks, and the expression of a man who bills by the hour. "We're witnessing a clarification," Ms. Park tells him. Ben sets the printouts on the desk in a neat display. I text Tessa, "Hold deliveries at the door, we're almost there." The officiant clears his throat. "Do we need this drama now?" "We need daylight," I say. Outside the door, a knock lands, 3 impatient raps that sound like a post about to go live. I open the door. 2 women I don't recognize hold a slim box like a bomb disguised as a gift. "Delivery for the bride," one says, camera ready in her eyes. Tessa floats behind them, angel of interference. "Vendor pass?" she asks, sweet venom. They falter. I take the box and close the door. Inside, a flash drive, a printed caption cue, and a note, "Payment failed." The story doesn't. I plug the drive into the office computer. A folder blooms, screen recordings of Julian's chats, a video of him rehearsing apologies with a lighting app, a spreadsheet titled Narrative Control. The spreadsheet includes my name on a tab, with phrases: nurse heroism, humble fiancé, family values, faith language, damage control. The officiant mutters, "Good Lord." Julian lunges for the keyboard. Ben steps between. Ms. Park's voice cuts calm and clean. "Everyone, please observe." She prints 2 pages, the settlement memo and the caption schedule. This constitutes an ongoing attempt to shape public narrative via hush considerations. She looks at me. "You do not have to proceed." Meredith whispers, "Guests are seated." I breathe. My dress feels like a borrowed skin. Julian tries one last angle. "Think of your mother's heart." And I realize mine is finally beating true. I walk to the chapel door and signal Meredith. "Please tell the quartet to play something gentle." She nods, eyes shining. We step to the front, not to process, but to speak. The officiant stands beside me like a witness in court. I hold the mic and look at faces I love. My mother, trembling. Co-workers from nights who brought granola bars. My cousins who flew in from 3 states. "I need to tell you the truth," I say, voice steady. "It's not scandal, it's clarity." I explain that I learned of contracts, hush payments, and a plan to monetize a narrative where I play the role of resilient angel while someone else directs the spotlight. I don't name the woman. I don't insult Julian. I hold up 2 printed pages and let the room see dates, times, amounts. Murmurs rise like wind through tall grass. Julian steps forward, hand out. "Aria," he says softly into the mic, "I love you. I made mistakes. Please, let's do this privately." I shake my head. "You outsource privacy to paywalls." The quartet stops. Somewhere a phone camera blinks red. I put the mic down. "This ceremony is postponed," I announce. Not canceled. Postponed until honesty is the baseline. Someone claps once, awkward and brave, and then the room holds its breath together. Afterward is paperwork and tenderness. Ms. Park helps me draft a short statement for guests and vendors. Meredith loops her arm through mine and reroutes the floral arch to a lobby where people can still take pictures and not waste beauty on a lie. Tessa and Ben sit with me in a side parlor while I call my mother and listen to her breathe, then cry, then steady. We return gifts. We refund what we can. I send a 1-sentence email to Julian. "I will not sign your addendum, and I will not be your scapegoat." He replies with paragraphs that read like press releases. I book a therapy appointment for Tuesday at 4 p.m., the only slot between two 12-hour shifts. In session, I say it out loud. I mistook performance for love. We untangle bank accounts I never let fully merge. I write my non-negotiables in a notebook I used in nursing school: transparency. No penalties for telling the truth. No image management over care. I start sleeping again. I start laughing at stupid memes with my night shift crew. I walk alone in the park and feel the world want nothing from me but footsteps and breath. A week later, a certified letter arrives bearing Julian's legal alias and a fragile apology. I open it with Tessa and Ben at my kitchen counter, where the sunlight makes everything honest. Julian's letter is polished and imperfect. He admits paying for silence, confesses a fear of irrelevance, apologizes for turning me into a storyline. He asks for a conversation someday. No cameras, no contracts. I believe people can change, but I believe consequences are tutors. I write him back with boundaries and grace. Get therapy for a year. Pay back what vendors lost. Send a public correction that names no one and claims nothing. After that, if truth guides you, we'll talk about coffee in a public place. I sign with love, not romance love, but the kind reserved for human beings who have harmed and can heal. At night, I imagine a different aisle. Not marble, not chandeliers, just a small room with a person who tells the truth when it's inconvenient and listens when my hands shake from a hard shift. I picture vows like handrails on a steep staircase. I picture a life where the only viral thing is kindness. I am not ashamed to have paused the story. I am proud to have revised it. And sometimes I still hear the organist's chord, but now it sounds like a door unlocking.